You ever notice how some people can't let a room stay quiet anymore? Every silence gets filled immediately. A joke, background noise, random conversation, anything. And honestly, that's usually when you realize how uncomfortable people became with their own minds. You notice it in small behaviors first. Someone turning a video on before eating, even though they're barely paying attention to it. A guy pacing around the kitchen at night, opening cabinets without really looking for anything. Some people keep noise around them constantly because silence started feeling too revealing. And honestly, that's the part people don't talk about enough. Some people aren't even enjoying the distraction anymore. You can see it on their face. Scrolling without reacting to anything. Restarting the same songs. Walking around restless without knowing what they're even trying to escape from. At a certain point, the stimulation stops being entertainment. It becomes emotional avoidance. Because for some people, silence immediately turns into restlessness now. The second everything gets quiet, their brain starts looking for an exit. Music in the car immediately. Something playing in the background while working. Falling asleep to videos because lying there quietly with your own thoughts feels harder now. Some people genuinely haven't sat in complete silence for months. And the scary part is, most of them don't even realize it happened. Not because they're lazy. A lot of people just slowly lost their tolerance for stillness. So some people keep leaning further into the noise. More stimulation, more routines, more exhaustion. Keeping life loud enough that deeper thoughts never fully catch up to them. Other people slowly start rebuilding their ability to sit with themselves instead. Driving with no music sometimes. Taking walks without constant input. Sitting outside after work, long enough for their thoughts to settle instead of drowning them out immediately. Neither response looks dramatic from the outside, but over time, they shape completely different people. Some people aren't afraid of silence itself. They're afraid of what silence forces them to notice. And honestly, you notice this hardest in conversations now. You ask somebody what they actually think, and there's this weird pause. Not a thoughtful pause, a careful pause. Like they're searching for the safest possible version of their real opinion before speaking. You can see it physically, the nervous laugh, the quick disclaimer, the subtle shift in tone when they realize the room might disagree with them. And it's strange because a lot of these people weren't always like this. You reconnect with old friends and something feels slightly restless now. Conversations that used to last hours suddenly feel difficult to sustain. Silence barely lasts long enough to breathe before somebody changes the subject. Half the room looks mentally somewhere else, even while they're talking. And honestly, that feeling starts bothering you once you notice it enough. Because you realize people aren't really relaxing anymore. They're managing themselves constantly. Managing how they sound. Managing how they come across. Managing how much of themselves they actually reveal. And eventually, people stop noticing how tense they are all the time. The clenched jaw, the constant mental noise, the inability to fully relax even when nothing's wrong. Some people sit down to rest and immediately reach for stimulation without even thinking. Phone, music, video, conversation. Anything to avoid sitting there with their own thoughts for too long. That's what makes this whole thing difficult to notice at first. Because from the outside, people still look functional. They still go to work, still answer messages, still make plans, still joke around normally. But internally, there's this constant low-level restlessness that never fully shuts off anymore. Like their mind forgot how to fully settle down. And after enough time passes, some people become so used to that feeling. They mistake overstimulation for normality. And after a while, you start realizing how exhausted everybody looks underneath it. And a lot of men feel this happening long before they know how to explain it. You see it in routines. Staying busy all day, then feeling strangely empty once everything finally gets quiet. Keeping noise running in the background because silence feels too exposing. Staying awake later than necessary because exhaustion feels easier than sitting alone with your thoughts. That's the strange part. Some men look productive all day, but underneath it, they haven't felt mentally still in years. So one response becomes constant movement. Gym, work, gaming, noise. Always staying occupied because slowing down makes certain feelings impossible to avoid. And eventually, some men get uncomfortable the second. Life slows down. No notifications, no movement, no distractions. Just their own head for 10 minutes. And suddenly they feel restless, for reasons they can't even explain. Other men slowly start rebuilding their ability to be present instead. Going on drives with no destination. Sitting in silence a little longer before reaching for distraction. Letting uncomfortable thoughts finish instead of interrupting them immediately. Both paths usually start from the same realization. Distraction stopped feeling enjoyable a long time ago. Now it just feels necessary. A lot of people don't actually know how to rest anymore. They only know how to distract themselves. That realization can either scare you or wake you up. Because once you notice how restless you've become, you also start noticing the moments where your mind finally feels calm again. A quiet drive, a walk with no noise, a conversation where you're fully present for once. And for a few seconds, you remember what it feels like to actually be there, mentally, instead of constantly trying to escape your own head. Most people never fully lose themselves. They just spend too long disconnected from stillness. And the moment you stop needing constant distraction every few minutes, you start feeling mentally stronger again without even realizing it.